Welcome back everyone to the Prehistorik Party on the Nintendo Super Power Club Challenge channel with Bill, your host. I do apologize for the recent drought in video uploads, but as I'm sure you know if you've been following the channel recently, we only have about 47 challenges left on the list, which is pretty impressive all things considered. But unfortunately, as those challenges get tougher and tougher, the wait times will get longer and longer. But hey, it is what it is, as we always love to say. That being said, we do have this one ready. This is Prehistorik Man on the Game Boy, and this is card number 151 in the collection. So this game, Prehistorik Man, is one that I liken as very similar to Tasmania, which is another game challenge we played a little bit earlier in the series. It plays out very similar as a side-scrolling platformer with you running around killing a bunch of enemies. The difference being is that in this challenge you can actually use your attacks instead of being reduced to a pacifist challenge, which is not very fun. That being said, you're going to have a lot of difficulty here just getting through stages in the first place, let alone dealing with the challenge, which we haven't even talked about yet. Speaking of which, let's do that right now. Okay, we got a full game playthrough here, so strap yourselves in for the long haul. Fortunately, this one isn't too long. The challenge states how far can you go on only one man or one life. For Pro, that's 5 levels. Now, in case you haven't played this game, which is virtually everyone I've ever talked to who has ever owned a Game Boy, the game only has 5 levels, and really the 5th level, since we're talking about it, is extremely short, so you could say 4, 4.5, whatever, it doesn't really matter. The point is, this is a full game playthrough, and you have to do it without dying. Now, early on, this is not that big of a deal, but as you get into levels 2, 3, and especially level 4, you're going to see that your platforming skills will be tested absolutely. You're going to have to know how to jump, where to jump, and how to get all the different items necessary to get through the various parts of the level, beat the enemies. You get my point. It's standard platforming, and it will be a challenge. So let's get right to it. Let's jump into Prehistorik Man on the Game Boy. Here we go. I have to apologize in advance here. You're going to see a lot of screen flickering like this throughout the course of the video. It's supposed to be saying get ready, go, arg, and stuff like that, but for whatever reason, my version of the game is a little bit corrupted. You're also going to hear garbled sound from time to time. I really don't understand it, but at least I can play the game in the challenge. So enough with that, let's get to the game itself. And as you can see, as I mentioned quite a while back, this is kind of like Tasmania to an extent. The only difference is that you can actually attack people here. So you have your standard jump attack like you're seeing right here. Now keep in mind you also only have 3 hit points here, 3 hearts. And when you lose them, that's it, the challenge is over. You've only got 1 life. Now fortunately, it's not very difficult to earn extra hearts here if necessary. Basically, you're going to get bones for killing certain enemies, and when you get enough bones, you will recover 1 heart. I think it's 3 bones per heart, so eventually you will see that happen. By the way, there's a screen flicker. It's supposed to be saying congratulations or good job and get ready, whatever. But we're going to continue onward here, and that icon, by the way, basically tells you which direction to go sometimes if you get lost. Oftentimes you will not be able to complete the stage if you don't pick up various items that are required as checkpoint gate, like passes, so to speak. And this section of the level does have one. We're going to show you where it is. By the way, this is a bonus area. You don't have to go here if you don't want to. Points really don't mean much of anything in this game. I mean, they might give you an extra life, but considering you only get 1 life for the purpose of this challenge, it really doesn't matter. There was a heart in there, so that was kind of cool. So that's the only reason I might go in there. But otherwise, we're going to take this elevator up, and typically, by the way, since we're looking at enemies here, a lot of these enemies can be killed when they're on top of you just by hitting the button right as they're on top. They don't have to be directly in your line of sight. So that's one little tip I could give you for the purpose of killing enemies. So you can see, take note of the hitbox that this club has. And by the way, Prehistorik Man does have other weapons that he will be using throughout the course of this game. They're much better than that stupid club, and we will see them as they come. And you're going to take this elevator all the way down. Do not jump off of it just yet, or you will get stuck and you'll have to waste a life and start the whole challenge over. So take it back up, then walk yourself all the way over here past this cave. Continue to go all the way across, and believe it or not, we're almost done with this level here. You probably noticed a hidden piece of pie that flew out of nowhere. Yeah, this is kind of like Simon's Quest. You just have to swing around like a madman until stuff appears out of nowhere. You might even say it's like Super Pitfall. If you've ever played that game on the NES, don't get me started. Okay, here's the first boss. This is a big, nasty-looking dinosaur here. He looks pretty intimidating, but he's not that difficult, honestly. Just stay right in the middle. You got to stay away from his big feet. That's how he's going to damage you here. Just stay right in the middle and hit the hands and the head as the arrows indicate here. And if you do it long enough, eventually you will damage him and kill him all the way down to the very end here. It's not extremely difficult. Again, just stay in between his 2 feet and the rest will take care of itself. It looks much more difficult than it actually is. Eventually, when you get him down to about maybe a quarter or a third of his life bar, he will stop right in place and allow you to ground and pound him right into the dust. You're going to see that happen fairly shortly here. Not a whole lot else to say, so we're just going to watch as he bounces himself all the way up on top of his head. Just like this. Eventually he'll just start bouncing in place if you do it long enough. And I think we're right about at that point right now. Yep, here we go. So we're just going to keep whacking on him until eventually he will stop bouncing. And he'll allow you to just bash him all the way down into the ground. Not a very difficult boss fight here. I think we are right at the point where he stops bouncing. Yep, here it is. Just keep on bouncing and bashing. As you can see, he's starting to sink into the ground. It's extremely easy for a first level boss. And that's going to do it as we prepare to move on to level 2 here. You're going to see a small little interlude, as I call it, where you get a point bonus, some fruit. Not that it really matters because we don't care about score in this game. We only care about staying alive and not dying. You get a nice little cutscene if you want to watch it, which is okay for portable 8-bit. I really don't care. So here we go, moving on. Now, moving on, you're going to see we got more enemies that look pretty much the same. You're going to have eventually some different enemies here. You got a little bird that flies around. You're going to have more of the same Tasmanian devils here. You need to push down on that little floorboard or you will not be able to go anywhere. So remember to push down. There's another section just like it coming up shortly. This is kind of annoying. Make sure that you get on there and don't try to move. Just let it carry you all the way across. I don't know of any way to kill that spider without taking a hit. Safely, I should say, so just be aware of that. Kill this thing if you want to, and then go down through the floorboards, and we're almost done here with this section of the map. Not too difficult so far. These spiders can be annoying. Kill them if you want to, or just jump on them or over them. No reason to take hits here. Another tricky section with a little werewolf Tasmanian devil. Just jump over them, play it safe. This is really not too bad. There's a lot of spiders here. So again, jump on them if you want to. Some hidden fruit if you care about that. I really don't know why they have tricky hidden fruit in this game. Again, especially doesn't really matter in this particular challenge. But here we are moving on to section 2-2 as I'll call it. We have a weapon upgrade. Now we have the mallet or sledgehammer, whatever you want to call it. This thing has tremendous range. It will kill things pretty high and pretty low. So just remember its range. Very useful here. Still don't know of any way to kill some of these spiders without taking damage here. Now, these are spiders/ants, and if you want, you can use them to bounce across these spiky pits. That could be useful. Or you can just walk on, take the elevator. However you want to do it, doesn't really bother me. Get rid of the spiders safely here. You got a tricky platforming section. You're going to have 2 spiders here. Swing the mallet relentlessly and swing it early to avoid taking damage. Why we have candy canes in this game, I don't know, and why they're underground instead of in a snow area really perplexes me, but I digress. We're going to move on here. We're going to have one final ant spider enemy here, and we're into section 2-3. Pretty small and quick sections here. This is probably the toughest or trickiest of the sections here. You have a small tunnel with a lot of unavoidable snakes, so just make sure you're swinging the mallet often and quickly because otherwise you will probably take damage here. Hearts can be useful if you're low, but you probably won't get many, so don't worry too much about it. You're going to find those bonus letters that say B-O-N-U-S, by the way, throughout this playthrough. Don't worry about them too much. They give you points, they give you lives. Sometimes if you get them all, not necessary because you can't die in this run. Now here, this is interesting. You have to swing the mallet pretty consistently and swing it where I show you because otherwise you will not be able to make the return trip back over this gorge, as I'll call it. Now, far over to the left, this is a fork that you need to get in order to progress with the level here. So make sure that you get it and then go all the way back across. Again, remembering to swing that hammer to make those platforms appear or you will not be able to make that jump. Nobody, even Mario, would be able to make that jump. Well, I guess maybe you could. Get the food if you want to. Again, it's not necessary unless you really care about points and who does. And we're going to continue on with this level here, and believe it or not, we're almost at the Stage 2 boss. The Stage 2 boss is going to be a lot trickier than the first one here, and there's a much higher risk of death in this one, by the way, so pay very close attention to what happens here. It's going to be a pterodactyl, as you can see. So as the pterodactyl comes down, just hold up and continue to swing that mallet. It's going to take about 6 mallet swings to progress with this boss fight here. So you're going to count with me. I think that's 4, it was 5 and 6. Once you get the 6th hit, you will have an arrow appearing on his neck here, and that's where you have to go. So jump onto his neck, and eventually he'll come down to the clouds. You have to count again. You're going to count 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 swings, and then another pterodactyl is going to come into the play here. Once you get that 5th swing, you're going to go for even more swings up on the 2nd pterodactyl here. And it's going to be more the same. Just keep swinging until you get 5 hits, and eventually this pterodactyl will fly up to the front and allow you the chance to hit the one that you're flying on one more time. And eventually you're going to have to jump onto this pterodactyl that's flying above you, and that's what makes this fight so tough and tricky here. You have a chance of dying by falling into the clouds right about here. So as soon as you see him move back, jump up as high as you can and move forward onto the 2nd pterodactyl, and it's going to repeat the process. Basically do the same thing over and over again until eventually you get this pterodactyl trio, or pack I guess, however many there are in this fight, all the way down to 0. So just continue the pattern. Hit the one that you're flying on 5 times. Do not hit it a 6th time. I cannot stress this enough. You will fall into the clouds and die. Just be very, very careful and cautious. Eventually, this pterodactyl will fly forward, and again, you repeat the cycle. It's as simple as that. The only other piece of advice I would have for this particular fight is to not turn around and try to swing at the flying pterodactyl above while you're facing the rear, because the range of that mallet is such. I've actually had it hit the pterodactyl I'm flying on, and it's caused the 6th hit, and I've had to restart the fight all over again. So again, as you're doing this, make sure that Prehistorik Man is facing forward the entire time to prevent accidentally hitting the one that you're flying on. Beyond that, I really don't have much more else to say here, so we can continue watching this fight, or not, because I think we've got a couple issues and errors here. So we'll just let it fly forward, and we'll see you at the end of this, and we go into stage 3. And one more whack on the head is going to do it for that boss, and down he goes and down we go. You'll see him go down in the background with a nice earth-shattering earthquake. Boom! And we're done with stage 2. And what do we get for our troubles? Ooh, wow. More fruit, more points. Yippee, just what we need in a no-death run here, right? Yeah, whatever. That's the game. So moving on to stage 3, you're going to see it's a lot of the same stuff in terms of platforming. You will see some new enemy types that will make you test your reflexes even more, such as this one, a bee mosquito of some sort. Sometimes they're easy to get, sometimes you got to sneak up on them like this. Depends on how many HP hit points you have. In this case we have 2. We got more of those birds that will come at us here. Sometimes they're good to kill from below. By the way, take note of the path I'm taking here. Take the bottom path. It's a lot less tricky and less dangerous to deal with here in terms of obstacles and hazards. That's what we've opted to do. Just take the low path. You'll avoid the spikes, the spiders. You can choose to jump on them if you wish, but the problem is jumping on them will cause you to bounce up, and you may hit a spike by accident or go to the upper path, which we don't want in this case. So we're going to continue going low. Eventually we'll come upon some more enemies that we've already seen. That was an unfortunate hit we shouldn't have taken. And we're pretty much done with this section of the level, believe it or not. You're going to have a couple more spiders. Just keep on moving over. You'll have more point pickups, which you don't need, of course. You can bounce on the spiders if you really want to, or just keep moving over to the right. Whatever you want to do, just keep moving over. Now, this next section we're about to approach is going to have more enemies that you haven't seen yet, and they're going to approach more dangerously and faster than before. So wait till you see. You got some dragonflies here. Kill them from beneath, and you're going to see that there's different speeds they will fly at you with. So be very, very cautious of these enemies. This could make you have to restart the level and the whole run for that matter if you're not careful. So it would be very beneficial to watch this run before you even attempt it, particularly with this level here. And oh, by the way, we haven't even hit the most difficult or perplexing part of the stage yet. Wait till you see what I'm talking about. Fruit pickups, point pickups, we don't need them, of course. Just walk over, pick them up out of necessity. Oh, there's a sledgehammer. That's kind of nice to have. You'll want that for the boss eventually. Take this elevator lift all the way up. Don't make the mistake I did and jump off there. That is a spike hazard. Just take this lift across, and eventually you're going to go all the way over to the left. And what are you going to see? This is a paper airplane, as I'll call it. What do you need it for? Well, you're going to need it to get the eventual item that you need to clear, well, not clear the level, but enter the boss area. So this paper airplane you're going to take like this. Basically, you move up and down. It's like a hang glider, basically, is what I should have called it. The hang glider goes up and down. You want to move it all the way to the top when you possibly can. and eventually you're going to have this item pickup right about here. So one more large gap should do it. Nope, there it is right there. It's a spoon. So we already picked up a fork in the level prior. Now we got a spoon. So that spoon of all things is going to let you go to the boss level. So you're going to take this paper airplane hang glider all the way over to the left. You can basically bypass and skip everything else because we've already seen it, we've already done it, and frankly we don't care anymore. So go all the way over left, fly down, and we are ready, believe it or not, for the third stage boss. That was pretty quick, I gotta say. Yep, here we go. Okay, looking at the stage 3, holy lord, what do we got here for a boss? Is this a gorilla that's morphed with China from the WWE? Well, that's what I first thought when I saw it, and sure enough, it's not that far off from it. Now, basically, this is very similar to the first stage boss. The major thing here to keep in mind, though, is that don't jump when his arms, or her arms rather, I don't know, are fully extended, because that's how you're going to take damage. You'll basically get clotheslined, for lack of a better word. Jump when the arms are bent like this, and then eventually, just like the first stage boss, you'll do enough damage to whack it right into the ground. And into oblivion at the same time. So that's it for the third stage boss. That really wasn't as tough as we thought it would be. Just make sure that you hit it when his arms are not extended. And then you move to the fourth level, just like this. Now level 4 is going to be considerably tougher than the first 3 levels. You're going to see a number of opportunities to fall into the holes and way down to the ground, but that's not going to happen here. Now you're going to see a couple things immediately. Make sure that when you do this, that was a axe projectile or something that you can throw. Much better than having a club. Make sure you fall in the exact point that I did. And then once you get it, you're going to continue going all the way over to the right, killing the enemies as you can. Eventually, you will have some items that you need to pick up, like the fork or the knife or the spoon, something like that, a utensil of some sort to help this little prehistoric man eat his meal. I forget which one it is in this level, but sure enough, soon enough, you will be seeing what it is. Not in this screen, but certainly in the next one, I do believe. But anyway, we had a little hiccup here. We're just bouncing and jumping over to this section here, and we're going to be going up to these spiders, and we're going to be jumping on them, not killing them. That's key. You want to jump on them to get over here. That's going to make this a lot easier for you. You're going to see an arrow, take it over to the right, and this is going to be a point where you're going to have to start worrying about potentially hang gliding pretty soon. Yes, the hang glider will make a return. I don't think it's here. I think it's on the next screen, but it is coming. Just be aware of that and be very cautious. I need to, certainly, because I have no hearts left. So you're going to be very careful here. Anytime you get down to 1 or 0 hearts, obviously play very cautiously, because one death, especially this late in the game, will have you throwing your controller, or if you're playing on a native Game Boy system, throwing the system against the wall here. Now here we go. We're going into the section where we will have a hang glider, because you're going to have not only that, but also another utensil that Prehistoric Man is going to need to eat his meals. That's going to be coming up toward the top right section. Another spider to jump on, another spider to jump on, and another spider to jump on. So take 2 or 3 of them up here. Here comes the paper airplane hang glider, or slice of cheese. I really don't know what that is. I haven't read the instruction manual, but I'm sure it tells you if you choose to read it. And there we go, it's a knife in this case. So once you get it, here's the beautiful thing. You don't need to continue going forward. This is basically, this screen only exists to get that utensil, and then you can go all the way back to the checkpoint where you came in here. And then you're going to continue on from another path, another trajectory here. So take the hang glider all the way back to the bottom left once you get that utensil, and you're going to start going down to the right. Be very careful right here. There will be an enemy on the tree, so kill it quickly, shoot, jump shoot, whatever you got to do, and then fall down to the right. There is a bonus letter or 2 if you want them. It doesn't really matter, obviously, because we don't care about points or lives. Anyway, continuing onward here, I believe this is the last section of level 4, if not next to last. Nothing you haven't already seen before. The platforming is pretty straightforward, but there will be an onslaught of enemies that get progressively tougher. You can see here's a fast-moving dragonfly, a fast-moving human, well, semi-fast, quasi-fast, I guess. Just keep on moving forward here. As you can see, it's just up and to the right platforming. Pretty simple stuff. In fact, I think that's all it is until you get to the very far right. And eventually you're going to come upon the end of the level here. We're getting pretty close right now. You'll have 1 or 2 more enemies down here if I'm not mistaken. And eventually, here we got 1 more on the tree. We gotta be pretty close to the end of the level right now. You can kill these spiders, jump on them, whatever. And here we are. This is the end of the level. That's usually the signifier that we're done with the level or here's a boss. Now in this case, this is kind of nice. There is no boss for level 4. It takes you right into level 5, which is the oak tree or some kind of tree. Now the tree is very straightforward. You're just moving down, down, down. You're just kind of snaking yourself left to right, and eventually the enemies will get tougher and tougher. It's basically an onslaught of all the bosses and enemies that you've seen. Well, not bosses, but enemies certainly, throughout the game. They will get progressively tougher, of course. And eventually you're going to see trickier hazards and pitfalls. And yes, this will also test your ability to find hidden items with the Castlevania 2 mechanic where you have to keep swinging and throwing stuff until the platforms appear. Yes, that will be coming toward the end of this level. Trust me on that. Unfortunately, it does happen. It's one of my least favorite aspects of this game, but you will be seeing it toward the end here. We're actually not that far away from it. Let's go ahead and take this elevator all the way down and then make sure you get off it. Don't stay on it like I just did. There's no reason. It really doesn't matter. Yeah, don't go on that one. It's just a dead end. Eventually, you will see a hidden utensil on the far left. That's what I was looking for. And unfortunately, I mistimed it a little too soon. We're going to go down, continue snaking around. There it is. Now, I don't know exactly what that is. It looks like it could be a lighter to light fire. Initially, I thought it was a pair of nunchucks, but then I thought, this is prehistoric, man. I don't think they existed back in those days, so this is probably a lighter. Not that those existed either, but you get my point. Some source of flame and fire. Okay, now we have everything we need to have a humongous, great feast of food. So we're going to take this elevator all the way down. Watch out for enemies, obviously. Continue to take it down. And eventually you're going to move over to the left. I would probably jump there. It's a lot safer than falling and potentially hitting the spikes and costing yourself the entire run. And here we are. That's the end of the stage. There's only one thing left to do now, and that's fight the final boss of stage 5 and the entire game for that matter. What is it? It's a volcanic tree trunk with bones for arms, and it has poisonous leaves, sharp leaves of some sort that fall off the trees. Yes, they hurt you. Now, the boss looks terrifying and intimidating, but honestly, it's not as bad as you think. Basically, you need to hit these bone arms to make them move, and that's going to cause damage to the boss. Eventually, you will get to a point where you have to throw the projectiles or club the projectiles into the head, and that's how you'll cause damage here. So for now, just keep doing what I'm doing and hitting these bone arms. They'll move up and down, up and down, up and down. Eventually, you will be able to throw your projectiles into the head. As you can see, the arrow is pointing right now. Just keep jumping and tossing. You'll do a ton of damage. Eventually, you're going to get this boss to a point where it will have projectiles raining down from the trees. I believe it's coconuts, if I'm not mistaken. Something that falls out of the air. And the only way to damage the boss at that point will be hitting arms continuously. That's where it's going to get considerably more difficult. Fortunately, we're not at that point yet, but we are very close. So right now, we're just trying to damage the boss by throwing these projectiles into the brain right now. We're very, very close. I would say a couple more should do it. And then eventually you're going to see these projectile coconuts will start falling out of the trees. I think it's coming any second now. We're down to about a fourth of his health, quarter life bar left. Here we go. Okay, now his brain is no longer on fire. That's an interesting image I just laid out there. Here we go. So now it is fruit, coconuts, something of that nature. You're going to see arrows coming here. This is critical and crucial. You need to remember this. You need to go where those arrows are pointing because it is the only safe spot on the screen to avoid getting hit. And that's important because you have 0 lives to spare in this particular boss fight here. Now, how do you damage the boss, you're probably thinking? Well, the arrow indicates safety, of course, but it also indicates where you have to hit this boss to cause damage. So right now, this is actually the first time I ever got to this boss before I figured it out. So the way that you damage the boss is you have to actually hit the arrow arm. Not only is it the safe point, but it's where you cause the damage. So right now, I'm just going to play it safe. The arm is going to go down and up, then you hit the arm, and you're going to stay on that arm. Doesn't matter what altitude or what elevation it's at, as long as you're there. So watch as I hit the arm, damage will be done, the arm will drop, and then you'll go over there to avoid the projectiles. It's a lot of back and forth, same thing. It's very safe. As long as you're on that arm, these projectile coconut fruit things will not harm you. And that's all you got to do. Just be very, very careful and cautious. I think 1-2 more hits will do it. And that will mark Prehistoric Man 151 complete in the books. I think one more. Did we get it? No, we got one more to go. Let's just wait it out to the end here. Here's the final shot. We got him. Down he goes. We have done it. This is over and done with. Prehistoric Man 151 complete in the books, and believe it or not, yes, very unbelievable, we only have 47 challenges left to go. Thank you all very much for tuning in and watching. Much appreciated as always. I promise I will do my best to upload as many videos as frequently as I can, despite the remaining difficulty of those challenges. Take care. We will see you in the next one. Have a good one.